Welcome back, everybody, to Context for Chaos. If you haven't noticed yet, Jessica and I decided to shorten our name to Context for Chaos. And I think that both of us really like the way that it rolls off the tongue, and it's pretty self-explanatory. But you all know me. I am a spiritual person, so it is spiritual context. And this is the world we live in, so it is worldly chaos. But now Context for Chaos. All right, we are on to Julia and Tim, and I interviewed them in 2023. They are incredible tarot readers and occult practitioners, and it was a joy to interview them. So I will let 2023 me introduce you to Julia and Tim of Spiral C Tarot. I'm so excited to introduce this week's guests, Julia and Tim of Spiral C Tarot. Their love of esoteric and occult philosophy, along with tarot symbology, takes their practice to the next level. They have wonderful, affordable readings available on their website, and you should absolutely consider purchasing a reading from them. And now, on to the episode. Julia and Tim are tarot practitioners, intuitives, bloggers, facilitators, and lifelong students of the mysteries. They run the website spiralctarot.com, which features an extensive catalog of resources and articles for others on their journey. You can also find them on YouTube, where they share meditation music inspired by the major arcana, and on Instagram, spreading their love of tarot with fellow seekers. Hi there, Tim and Julia. Thank you so much for coming on to the Aquarian. I am super excited to talk to both of you.
Well, thank you very much for having us.
Thanks for having us. We're very excited to be here as well.
Yes, I have a lot of questions because I have just gone over all of your website and perused all of your Instagram. And my first question is, definitely, how did this partnership come to be? Was one person into tarot and then brought it out of another person? Or I don't see many couples that are this involved together with tarot. So tell me, like, what was coming together? What was the connection? How did it happen?
Yeah, that's a good question. And maybe we'd have like two different versions of it or different things to add. So I can kind of like give my perspective on that, and then Tim might have something else that he wants to say. But
sounds good.
We both came to this with the love already there. So it wasn't that one of us was doing it and the other one wasn't. I think for both of us at the time of meeting, it was important for us to be with someone who was sort of on the same page in that respect. So, when I met Tim and I found out all that he was into and really understood the way that he was working with tarot, it was like an instant click for me. It was such a compliment to the way that I saw the tool. And, we know how Instagram is, and we know that community, and we know the spiritual community. And as much as there are many commonalities within that community, I think sometimes for many of us, sensitives and intuitives, it can still feel lonely. It can still feel like your practice is quite an isolated one, and you don't often necessarily see it represented out there. Tarot is not tarot, is what I'm trying to say. And so when I met Tim, I found someone who really kind of saw it the way I saw it, but also brought this extra thing to it that I was missing, like a puzzle, right? So something I didn't even know that I was missing. And so it like just clicked. It just went so perfectly in that way. And I knew before I had met him that it was important for me to be with someone who did this work, because I just knew that was part of my path. So I don't know if that answers your question.
I love that. Yeah, no. And now I'm curious what Tim has to say.
It's funny, and we do this often, but she used exact phrases that I would have used to describe it. But it very much was like two people coming together with their own unique, distinct practices that were kind of like each other's missing puzzle piece, if you will. And like we both like filled in like she said, we did have a lot of commonalities, but at the same time, we filled in all each other's gaps. And I feel like we both had the love for it there, but when we came together, I feel like our practice kind of took off in a whole new way.
God, I love that. What a like a kismet kind of experience.
It was very, very much so. And just like without getting too woo-woo, whatever. Like, so I know, right? I know I'm in the right.
Bring it.
Just so many synchronicities and strange things leading up to meeting, and then on the back of meeting, and just bizarre, just strange things that you just know, okay, this is like part of the plan.
And both of you were in the same place to meet someone as well? Both of you were open to it as well, or?
That's also kind of the funny thing, because I think at the time, neither of us would have thought that we were. Like, I think we both kind of were closed down to that idea, but it was, when we came together, it was just so undeniable that we almost didn't have a choice.
I know, my life was a total shit show at the time. It was the worst time.
Oh,
the worst time.
goodness.
It made a mess even messier. Going through, honestly, the worst time of my life when we met. Yeah, so
the universe is so twisted.
So twisted. I know.
So, like, it's like, I'm gonna throw something at you and you're not gonna get it, but you're gonna want it. So let's just go with it. So
exactly.
So, all right. So let me ask both of you individually, how did you come to tarot yourselves? What was your journey to tarot yourselves? And I'll start with Julia.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, my relationship with tarot started very young. I was really born and raised in a house that where I had a lot of exposure to this sort of thing. Just my dad was really into this and other magical systems and different spiritualities and alternative thinking and all of those things. So I had a lot of exposure in books and literature kind of like at the ready. So I grew up with it, but I can't blame it all there. I can't tie it all there, because I really truly had this like deep urge, calling, desire to explore tarot from a very young age. I got my first deck when I was 10, and I just knew I had to have these cards. I just knew I didn't know anything about them. I didn't understand any of the books. I couldn't figure it out at all, despite my best effort. I just knew I had to have them. I loved them so much. So I feel like I was kind of born just, I don't know, with it in me to pursue, then grew up in a household that encouraged it. So that made it a little bit easier. But yeah, like I have a brother and he's not at all really into this stuff. So it wasn't, my dad didn't really push it. It was just kind of there. But it was in me. It was in me to pursue. It was something I always was drawn to. And it started quite young. And then, as you get older and life happens and things occur, there was a period of time where I didn't touch it, probably going on 13 years where I didn't do anything with it. And then life came back and threw me some very strange things and took me back into it. So
isn't that how it goes?
Yeah.
Sometimes, because it is so hard to find like that community or that platform or whatever, it's like you kind of don't know what to do with it after a while. And unless you really want to do now what we're all doing, which is professionally pursuing it. So that makes sense. It took me, I got out of it because of a demonic reason, but like 10 years I was doing it. I would do it, but I would do it with like a substance abuse, because I couldn't connect with actually wanting to do it.
Right.
So I would, get drunk and I'd just start reading everybody at the bar because I'm psychic. So I totally get that, where you're just like, I need a freaking break, but you really didn't probably take a full ass break. Like you took like a U break,
Yes.
Yes. So I'm very curious now, like Tim, what was your journey to it?
It's a really long story, and I'll try to keep it somewhat short, but mine was somewhat the opposite experience. Like my dad growing up, my dad grew up in a very Christian household, a very strict Christian household, I should say. So he was naturally very afraid of all these things. And I kind of had a natural inclination to explore them, but I wasn't really afforded that opportunity until much later in life. I kind of explored the periphery of it by getting into drugs pretty badly in my teens and early 20s.
Totally.
And that also kind of led me there in a strange way too, because it's hard to explain, but no matter how far life took me away from that part of myself, it was always leading me closer to that part of myself. So I ended up developing a pretty bad drug addiction. And by my early 20s, I would hit rock bottom, was on disability. It was just suicidal, hated my life. And I ended up having two pretty powerful psychedelic experiences that showed me that there was maybe a little bit more to it, and that I did possibly have a chance in the future, which I never really had even entertained before. And it took me a little while to kind of snap out of my old ways, but once I got going, I quit doing all the drugs. I quit smoking. I used to smoke 3 packs of cigarettes a day.
Wow.
I was on a ton of medications. Like I was prescribed Xanax, Seroquel, and Prozac. And I had to slowly get off all those and then like really learn to take care of myself in a way I never had before. So it was like this whole purification process during which I had to kind of face all the bad things that I'd done during my addiction and come to terms with them. Well, I had to do more of that later, but that was the start of it. And eventually, like, all the ingredients kind of conspired to lead me to have a spontaneous mystical experience in November of 2014.
Really?
Which is interesting because Julia was going through her same stuff around the exact same time period.
In 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So you both were going through big tumultuous changes, big transformations. Wow.
But it's kind of funny though, because we didn't actually meet until 2019.
And years before we even met or had any inkling of each other.
We both we talk about this when we met. We talked about this 2014 being a real turning point for us. We actually both started a notebook in 2014 around the same month and talked about like the same books, that we were doing the same exercises from the it's so weird. It's really weird.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And same dreams. We had the same dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah, this sounds undeniable. Like, this sounds like, even if you want to push it away, it's like, we're just going to reel you in further. You're going to keep seeing things that are going to make this hard to walk away from.
Impossible.
So wait, so Tim, is that when you found tarot too, or did you find tarot later?
Shortly after that, because I didn't really know where to go with it. When it first happened, I actually thought I was going crazy at first because I had no frame of reference. So after a bit of research, I found out I was going through what people call the spiritual awakening. So I found some good YouTube channels and other resources, and I eventually fell in with a crowd that operated around a spiritual shop in downtown Niagara Falls called the Spiritual Spa. And it's since closed, unfortunately, but they helped me a lot, and they had a lot of really good classes there. And I met a nice community there. And then through there, I got from the New Age community, I moved on to more witchcraft and neo-pagan stuff and shamanic healing. And from there, I kind of found Aleister Crowley. And then he put me onto the Golden Dawn. And then it all kind of fell into alignment from there. It was like I had stumbled onto a path that I was always meant to be on, but never knew.
And it just all felt right to you. It's like all of these teachings, all of the things that this person is expressing or saying that we can do or we can be.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
I feel that that's the right way. I feel like that's true for me or for everybody.
Some of them, as far as Crowley goes.
Yeah, I know, right? Crowley. Yeah, he gets pretty far in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that's so okay. These are very big stories. There's sometimes people my mom did a little bit of tarot or this and that. And it's interesting, your father was into it. I usually hear the mother into it. So Julia, that's a very interesting.
Yeah, my mom was not so much. In fact, I think it might have even bugged her a little bit. So that would be something sort of me and my dad would talk about. She wasn't around, and she started making rules at the dinner table, about kind of things we aren't to talk about, because we would always go into the weirdest things possible.
Oh my God. I'd so be at that table.
Yeah. That table.
Talk about it.
Great to be at. Yeah. Great to be at. Unless you're not so much into it. But yeah, definitely a switch in dynamic.
Well, that's incredible. Okay. So I'm going to move to your Instagram page and your website really quick, because I have to mention to everybody that your aesthetics are so pretty. I look at them, I'm like, who takes these photos? Who puts this together? Is that you? Is that both of you?
That is Julia's magic.
Oh, because it is. I was like, this is almost like stock photography. It's so well crafted.
Thank you so much. That's very kind of you to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So everybody needs to go check out their Instagram account and their website, even just aesthetically, look at how she, just loves the cards. You obviously love the cards.
You know what it is? That's what it is. It's just, it comes from my just love of them. And I'm not an artist by any traditional means. And
I know about that.
I get it, but I can find it in other ways. And when I have something that I love, like tarot, right? It inspires me. It's like a muse, right? You want to take photos of it. You want those photos to speak for your feelings of it and about it. And that's kind of how I started with it. Now, obviously, my relationship with Instagram is whatever, but still love taking photos. Still love taking photos.
Well, you should, because they are absolutely gorgeous. I'm a photographer, but I like shooting nature. So like every time I try to do the cards, like I kind of look at your stuff and I'm like, how does she love it? Like, let's love it like Julia loves it. Like, it's so nice. Like, it's just really nice to see, because it's hard to connect like that with them unless you love that card. Right. Loving all of tarot is like a whole other level of I think experience. So I just really liked that you could visualize that, or let us visualize it.
Thank you.
So now I'm going to go into your biographies because I loved how much you let us know about both of you. And I'm going to start with Julia, and I want to know, well, you brought up dreaming first of all, and I'm kind of curious about your dream life. What do you mean? Do you experience lucid dreaming? You said paralysis sometimes. You go on what, adventures, or it's like very vivid?
Yeah, I think I've always had, I'm sure many people would relate to this, but like a very, especially intuitive folks and folks who are into this side of life, but a very vivid dream life. I think it's one of, maybe it's my Pisces moon, I don't know. It's one of, right? It's one of the most interesting things to me, dreams, right? But it's also just, I don't know, it doesn't seem like people are all that interested in it. But to me, I just think all of these, we go away for like 8 hours a night. Where are we going? What are we doing? What is happening in this space? This is a really magical space.
Thank you for joining us. And until next time, as above, so below, blessed be.